Testing one.
Bring that up a little bit. That should be better now. That is one mic. I'll start plugging in mic 2.
Testing one. Effect mic here.
It's another top 5 battle here at Hume City Stadium on a Saturday evening as round 16 continues here in NPL Victoria for season 2024. Adam Sarikoglu and Lockie Flanagan on the call here on the NPL Victoria YouTube channel. Hume City is hosting South Melbourne. We are very much looking forward to this one. 2 key changes for each of the teams in the starting 11. Josh Bingham gets his starting spot back in this lineup after coming on and scoring as a sub against Green Gully. Fletcher McFarlane slots into the starting lineup as well. But the big news, Josh O'Kane is relegated to the bench, and so is Lloyd Isgrove. He is not starting Lloyd Isgrove this evening for Hume City. He could come on and have a major influence on this game. For South Melbourne, unsurprisingly, Harvey Lopez now back in goal for South after Lejeune got that start after the Doherty Cup game against Preston Lions a week and a half ago. Andy Brennan also has come in for George Tsitsinaris as we're just about set to go here. Looking forward to this game. 2 teams coming off wins in round 15 in NPL Victoria. South on a 3-game winning streak, of course. Just that one blemish on their 2024 league campaign so far. Hume just running into a bit of a lull in form of late. Able to get the win after having a scare in the cup against the Bayside Argonauts, and former Hume City man Mitch Cooper nearly giving them an almighty fright here on a Wednesday evening a couple of weeks ago. They were able to bounce back, obviously, after coming from behind in that one to get the win at Green Gully. It's Puya Gardarine in charge of proceedings, and we are underway on a very, very chilly Saturday night in the Valley. As that ball goes over the head of Harry Sawyer. He's in fine form right now, and he tried to blaze away, but he's booted that ball straight into Noel Bernarda. And on a cold night like this, you don't want to be getting balls like that, especially so early in the game. And you've hardly warmed up. Of course, Michael Weir back in goal for his second start, as we see a chance here for Max Mikula, just pushing over McFarlane. Ball's going to come in over the head of Sawyer. Awkward one for Lockie Weir to deal with. So South are pressing early here. Coming off a 4-2 win against Melbourne City last week. Haven't heard from Lockie Flanagan yet, but he was on that call at Lakeside last week. Lockie also obviously BT Connor for that cup game against the Preston Lions, so he's had a good look at South in the last couple of weeks. So we've got the long throw here from Max Mikula. Dealt with at the front post by Bingham, and sending it in was Brennan. Hard one to deal with. Platt's the one that clears out for Hume. Painter Andrews over the head of Puya Gardarine. Did well, and there's a chance here again for South to press. Bernarda sending it in, not far away from Sawyer. Ball sent skyward. Barcia. It's going to be easily collected by Michael Weir. There was a bit of chat about exactly how Michael Weir ended up back at Hume City. I do believe they went into a couple of fixtures, Hume, without a second keeper available. You know, in the cup game, they had no second option available against Bayside Argonauts. Jackson Riley was in goal, obviously, that night. What a handy addition to come in mid-season in goal for Hume City. Not been able to launch an attack just yet this evening. Ochiang here. It's a cold, cold night in the Valley. This is Ashcroft and his usual partner in crime. Centre defence is Tomas Maricic. Going back to Ashcroft. Sawyer not far away. Ashcroft had to dispose. Painter Andrews with a little bit of work to do here. Golevsky was breathing down his neck. Esteban Quintas giving the ball back to Lockie Weir here. Back alongside his brother. As we went looking for Mikhail Platt. He's finally found some form of late scoring in both the cup and league. Gets the starting nod tonight with Bingham back into this lineup as well. It's a very attacking lineup that David Chick has brought to face the ladder leaders here this evening. Finally welcome co-caller for the night, Lockie Flanagan, onto the call. As we mentioned, Lockie, you've seen a lot of South lately.
Yeah, I have, and they've been really impressive so far. Oh, that's a fantastic ball through, though, for Gulevsky. I'll leave it to you for a second, Adam.
Gulevsky is surrounded, though. Coming through was Amir Abdullah. Just so many white shirts surrounding Gulevsky as he comes back to Maricic out wide for Bingham. Back into the starting lineup. He's the skipper on the back foot as well. Did well to guide that ball through to Platt, but he's surrounded as well. Brennan emerges for South Melbourne. Can't get it past Ochieng. So South was in control at Lakeside, but did let two go past last week. We know that Javi Lopez is now back in goal. They've been in a few high-scoring shootouts of late, South.
They certainly have, but I think a lot of South fans will be pleased to see how many goals they've added into the lineup in recent weeks. I mean, it's been trending upwards, I think, from the first 4 rounds of this season. I think this was the final or penultimate of their consecutive 1-0 wins to start the season. The reverse fixture in this game. But yeah, the scoreline and the fact that Moreland conceded, or South conceded the opening goal to Moreland, maybe not reflective of how much South controlled the game. I'm really fascinated tonight, Adam. We can talk about this as the game goes on. You've mentioned the attack-minded selections of David Chick, and it is really interesting to get to see a triumvirate in attack of Josh Bingham, Josh Gulevsky, and Mikhail Platt, who was in solid form, or refinding solid form, as you mentioned. And they'll all be seeking to attack this Amir Abdullah outswinger. It's Maricic who rises highest. And the South numbers first to the loose ball through Noel Bernarda. I can only imagine we'll have, I don't know if they'd be fond, negative, but they'd certainly be strong memories of his one and only game for Hume City in the 2021 Australia Cup. Scoring in the 96th minute, or 93rd minute, being red carded in the 96th against Port Melbourne. That's a lovely turn from Platt. Stands up an inviting ball, Bingham gets up. And in the end, it's Puya Gadirian who whistles, I believe, against the line leader, but well, Josh Bingham, he does have form for those sort of goals, but not to be early doors in this game. I mean, Josh Bingham has form for those kind of goals. Hume, generally speaking, have form for those kind of goals.
Just not sure that one was on, though. That was far too high to be going with that sort of stuff.
I think Josh Bingham might say, you know, something, tickets and raffles.
There's a good crowd in here today. This evening, I should say. Brennan running onto this ball for South Melbourne, has Weir with him. It's going to start again here from the back with Barcia towards Sawyer, who's been enjoying some good form of late himself. He's up to 13 goals in the league this season. Had a good night at BT Connor Reserve 10 days ago now. Brennan falls over here. Gadarian finally blowing the whistle. It's going to be a Hume ball.
Interesting that Andy Brennan elected to grab that ball on the deck, despite it was he who gave the free kick away. And how good is it to see Michael Weir make his long-awaited return, not to Hume City, of course. His debut returning, I guess, debut for the club was last week, but back at Hume City Stadium. Two-time NPL Victoria Goalkeeper of the Year, which means we have keepers at both ends tonight who have had the privilege of winning that honour twice. Javi Lopez, the man to your left of screen at home, is the reigning and consecutive winner of that award. And as good as the two attacks we've got on display here are tonight, and they are very high-quality, star-studded attacking lineups, they're going to have to do well, both teams, to beat the respective goalkeepers we've got in the net this evening. You could argue that just on history as opposed to current form, obviously Michael Weir's only played one game since he's come back, but you'd argue you've got two of the best all time in NPL Victoria starting between either post tonight.
Up front for both these lineups as well, plenty of available avenues to go. So Harry Sawyer in the foregrounds at the moment, Josh Bingham at the other end. Cal Platt's in some form. We know Hume can score from anywhere, really. Lloyd Isgrove on the bench tonight. I was surprised when the team sheets did come in from David Chick this evening. He was just giving him a little mid-season spell, perhaps. It's been a busy schedule for Hume. Really surprisingly lucky. Took into that Donkey Cup game against Bayside Argonaut, who are well down in the ranks of Victorian football. The exact same starting 11 as what they had here for that 0-0 draw against Dandenong Thunder a couple of weeks ago. We were really surprised to see that. And there were no subs in that game for a long time for Hume either, so it wasn't like he was just giving some of his regulars some early minutes in that game and then make some subs. That was a full commitment from his normal starting 11 on a Wednesday night in a game that we were surprised to see them in, and they were down 2-0 in that game. With a former teammate Mitch Cooper scoring twice, it was a remarkable night, that one, before Hume City just essentially became Hume City. I mean, Lloyd Isgrove scored from a ridiculous distance and they ended up winning that one 4-2. But I'm just wondering if Lloyd Isgrove's just getting a little breather in the middle of the season time.
It's a good question to ask why you wouldn't rotate, but I think maybe the fact that they did have to come from 2-0 down and come from behind explains why. Bayside, yes, they're a state league team, but with the likes of Mitch Cooper, Timmy Mala, Milos Lujacic, Jawadi, I mean, it's like an NPL All-Stars team from back in the day, and they've added A-League champion Scott Jamieson as well very recently. It's not the kind of team you can afford to just, I don't know. I know it's a state league side, but you can't be off your guard against that sort of opposition. So credit to them. They were rocked, but they got back up again. And
still put 4 past them.
Yeah. They still absolutely did everything they needed to do. But in the same way that I think you're right, Adam, might be necessary for the likes of Isgrove and O'Kane, who has started every league game up to this point. Let's not forget this is his longest run of senior football. All of a sudden, the prospect of Lloyd Isgrove on the bench, depending on when this game or what the scoreline is in the game when he comes on, now looms very large. And you think back to some of the other big games they played this season, Hume. I mean, we were both here for that 2-0 defeat to Oakley, where I know Oakley didn't have firepower off the bench. They didn't make a sub, but at those times where Hume needed an extra gear, they weren't really able to find it off the bench. It's a full stretch. Hume City defence forced into a clearance. So maybe having Isgrove just allows them to have that extra gear off the pine should they need it in a game-changing situation.
I don't recall in recent memory, especially seeing Platt, Bingham, and Galevsky all getting a start as well. So, you know, against the ladder leading south that they need to find ways to really test Harvey Lopez throughout the night. They've got plenty of ways to do that, and Muradolo out there, of course, as well. This evening, South's form has just been outstanding throughout the year so far. Scoring goals for fun, both cup and league level of late. McFarlane going back to Ashcroft in the middle of the park here. Never reliable Mark Ochieng. Down the line ball for Platt and some space out wide here for Hume to work in. Platt does go down. And gutter in. Letting play continues. Sawyer has no one ahead here. Ashcroft with him. And Hume's going to be able to double back here. And some shenanigans with Mark Ochieng. And Gallerini not happy with something that Ochi's done here.
Why is no yellow? Why is no yellow?
Esteban Quintas has been quite animated already and already just giving our fourth official a hard time here this evening. Armin Paver, our fourth official. Whether it's some time wasting antics or otherwise, I'm not entirely sure, but we'll get on with it now. Kovic across the paint to Andrews, South Melbourne. As you mentioned, the 1-0 win back in February at Lakeside. United scoring in the second half on that particular day. Ascroft under a bit of pressure here. Maricic just gets his big body in the way. A size between he and Harry Sawyer, isn't it? As Amir Abdallah takes it away here. Inboard for Platt. Just bounces past him. That ball just skidded along a little bit and caught him off guard. Brennan's going to go back to safety for South.
It was otherwise really great work from Amir Abdallah and from Hume. As you could see how, and you could hear it throughout FX Mike, how intently Esteban Quintas was urging Harry Sawyer and the South Melbourne attack to press and squeeze the space when there was a lateral ball against the back four. And I think it was Harry Ascroft who picked the pass perfectly, and it was a great chest and control from Amir Abdallah too. And they'll need to be at their best in those phases of play. Will Hume has a tight meeting, as have been a lot of their recent games against one another. That 1-0 win you referenced back in round 3. Historically, not a fixture that's been particularly kind to Hume City though. Only 2 wins against South Melbourne in the NPL Victoria era. And both of them came in season 2019. And only 2 players from that last win who were there tonight. Umud Bozdogan, who was a 93rd minute sub, and Michael Weir, who's only just back from a several year stint away. Archibald loops the ball back to Javi Lopez. Hasn't had too much to do other than to help South recycle their possession so far. It's been a tactical but tentative opening 15. Bingham with an acre of space through the middle, looks left and right, assesses his options and shows too much to the outstretched Mario Barcia. A good sliding challenge from the Argentine. And Sawyer can't get through the double coverage. Maricic returns the ball to Michael Weir, to the soundtrack of a hearty applause from David Chick. As they had a slow start in what was the early kickoff last Saturday against Green Gully. Found themselves trailing at halftime before 2 late goals from Mikael Platt and Josh Bingham returning from injury in the 89th minute. Looking for a sharper start throughout the first 45 tonight. And South Melbourne are not the kind of side that let you back into a game once they have the lead. Searching ball. He's going to drop for, well, initially for Carlson, but a fresh air swing on the attempted header. Barcia turned into trouble, but managed to find clean passage initially to Brennan, who's picked up the pieces after a couple of nibbles from Lockie Weir. Here's Jordan Lampard. It's a defensive shape from Hume that is proving difficult to breach at the moment. Really neither side giving an inch at the moment, Adam.
It's going to be a rowdy night out of the 2 technical areas already. A lot coming out from both Esteban Quintas and David Chick. One of those nights, I think, Lockie. Contrast to when you and I were last year. What a word out of Chris Taylor for nearly the entirety of the 90. Not until very late when they were trying to make a time-wasting sub. The referee wasn't allowing. That's the only time we heard anything from him throughout the whole night. So we are here. Great opening there for Platt, but he's surrounded. Reclaim for South by Archibald, and they look to counter. Ashcroft getting in Sawyer's way, though. Archibald getting tangled up with Ashcroft at midfield here. Maricic going in, heavy challenge on Mikola. Sawyer out into space, and it's a nice ball for Andy Brennan. He'll go first time, Brennan, but kicks it straight into Weir. And he'll go again, Brennan. Just guiding it along to Barcia. That's not a bad ball, but Sawyer getting no power on it. Never going to trouble Michael Weir with that. So, that attack from South coming after a sustained period for Hume. Controlling proceedings for the most part. Looking forward to what transpires here tonight. Two top 5 sides in NPL Victoria. Hume just had some mixed fortune against the top echelon of NPL Victoria, obviously going down at home here against Oakley a couple of weeks ago. It was exactly 1 week before that, got that entertaining 2-2 draw against Heidelberg as well. Cheng going back to Weir. Platt's going to regain at midfield. Bingham set a task here. The outlet was Amir Abdallah. Patience here from Abdallah, but ended up being denied by Barcia. It's McFarlane. Back into the starting 11 tonight. McFarlane. Carlson. Ashcroft. Looking to pick out Amir Abdallah. Into Andrews denying that. Brennan. Archibald. Marshall. Gets it back from Barcia. Into Andrews. Floater more than anything else, and it took a long time to arrive at Andy Brennan. Weir was quick to take it off him. We'll start again in the back here for Hume with Maricic.
Just thinking to myself, Adam, have we got the podium finishes for tallest players in NPL Victoria all on the right-hand side of screen in this first half? Michael Weir, 200 centimetres. Tom Maricic, 200. I think...
Are they the official measurements?
I think they are. Well, according to my research, I don't know whether they add a couple of centimetres to their own transfer market page or something, but I think Harrison Sawyer is in the high 90s as well, so certainly up there, and it will be a really interesting battle, I think. Sawyer against one of the best central defensive duos in the league, and one of the tallest and most physical, which is usually his advantage over everyone else. Lopez just has to side foot that one away. Never be too careful when Amir Abdallah is the man giving chase. Not sure if the camera caught it, but that was quite an intense sort of individual pep talk between Esteban Quintas and Andy Brennan there. If the camera didn't catch it, the coach brought his player onto his forehead, and they were resting foreheads against one another while he was giving instructions. Not seen it before, but well, it's unorthodox, but it might just work out. That's pretty much a good summation of Esteban Quintas as a coach. Jankovic is bested by Platt. Great use of the body. A big chance here for Hume, and it will be a corner for the hosts. Well, that's a rare slip from Marko Jankovic, who doesn't put a foot wrong too often, but credit the physical work of Mikael Platt, not giving up on a loose ball over the top, throwing his body about, and you can ask a question of whether or not he should have found a teammate in the middle, but a corner's still a good result.
Yeah, well, Platt was allowed to get goal side. I mean, that was a really dangerous moment for South. Platt unable to link up with anyone, but did get the corner. So now we see Amir Abdallah, who I do believe is Hume's first corner of the night. And Maricic likes to get down there for these situations. Carlson retrieving here for Hume City. Weir will go first time, but it's a shallow ball in. Did deflect into the boots of Golevsky. His ball is blocked in the end. Ascroft from a long, long way. Lopez was not going to have any trouble. We talk about 200 centimetre infielders. I mean, normally players of that size are wearing gloves. Only Lopez, for how good he is, a little bit undersized, which just accentuates exactly how good he has been for South for multiple seasons now.
Yeah, he's just remarkably agile, and it definitely, I don't know, it maybe hinders him in other areas, but as a pure shot stopper, I think what he may lack in verticality, he makes up for in reaction time, in the swiftness and agility both off his line, but to actually close down the angle for one-on-ones and that sort of thing. Yeah, definitely two physically different goalkeepers, but both exceptional in their own right. And I'm thinking back to these two sides' last meeting, not in the league, but at Hume City Stadium, which was all the way back in, I think, round 8 of last year, a 0-0 draw, and Javi Lopez had one of the best games I've ever seen the goalkeeper have in NPL Victoria. I suspect he might be tested again here tonight. Quite a few times. Ocheng's early ball does test him, but it's a fairly easy test for the Spaniard. He just watches it into his grateful arms. Painter Andrews inside for Barcia, who's had a lot of the ball in this middle third of the park so far, as you would expect. The former Avondale Oakley and Bentley Green's midfielder. Well, that one is cut en route to the Argentine. Weir for Abdallah, who had a player cut through the back, and Archibald was able to retrieve possession for South on the far side. South Melbourne charging towards goal, swinging the ball into the middle, and that's not going to trouble Michael Weir. Across from Noel Bernarda. There's not been much, if anything, to split these two sides in the opening 25 minutes. It's one of the points, listening to David Chick and Mark Ocheng in their little club interviews in the lead up to this game, talking about how the pitch, being one of the biggest in NPL Victoria, allows them to play more of a possession game, while also making it maybe a little bit more difficult for some of South's set piece and long throw tactics. We know that they leave Lakeside deliberately as quite a narrow pitch to aid with those sort of things, but this pitch is massive, and we haven't seen many long throws tonight or corners for South, but be a chance from open play here. Brennan driving towards the byline, and the cross takes a touch. It's been a game of fine margin so far, and those examples continue to be laid down in front of us. Andy Brennan, decent run, and nearly a good cross. With plenty of South Melbourne players waiting, but South Melbourne have been able to do with Hume's own crosses into the box. They're able to create a block and concede just the corner. We're keeping abreast of the entertaining nature of the two coaches tonight. They've just run across to give one another a hug, Esteban Quintas and David Chick, as the corner comes in, swung into the near post, but repelled at the first time of asking by Hume City Head. And this bouncing ball is an important one, and Lampard's touch was crucial. Archibald, a scoop ball. Ocheng has a couple of bites at the cherry and is eventually able to clear lines for the hosts. Abdallah. Well, Painter Andrews, who was Barcia, I think, lucky not to collect any of Amir Abdallah there, otherwise he might have been walking his way into a ticket. And here is Abdallah. Golevsky Scored his first NPL Victoria goal against South Melbourne last season at MacIver Reserve. South Melbourne's home away from home during the Women's World Cup. Yankovic. Searching ball for Brennan. A bit feisty there between Ma Ko-cheng and Harrison Sawyer. And the undersized dog in the fight has won the free kick.
It's been a little chippy between those two so far. As Lockie Weir advances and sends it out toward Mikkel Platt. Trying to just pick out some space to his right, but it's Barcia that emerges for South and moves it on toward Mikela, just looping one over the top here for Bernarda, but Weir's come a long way out of the box to clear out in the direction of Amir Abdallah. Sandwiched, and the numbers went out in the end for South Melbourne. That's coming to a big stretch of home game South over the next month or so. Lakeside can have that limited availability in this season with the Grand Prix, of course, at Albert Park. They've got plenty of looks at Lakeside in the next month, including next week, a Friday night fixture against Manningham United coming up after tonight.
He's on his own.
On to Andrews.
Yes, Amir. Yes, he's on his own.
Going back to Lopez. Mikkel Platt not far away. Somewhat pressured ball out by Lopez, but
Well done. Hey, go on.
all was okay in the end. Hume will get it back in front of the main grandstand, which is pretty well populated here this evening. Plenty of blue mixed in there with the red. Here's Weir. Last year's league fixtures against these two were draws, including that one at MacIver, obviously. McFarlane going down late. You can have a look at a set piece here. Foul given away by Noel Bernarda. A chance here for Hume to set something up from the dead ball.
5 yards further forward for a start.
Very clean affair so far. No bookings from Puya Gutterian. It's going to be Amir Abdallah to send this ball in. The chick is arguing this point with the fourth official. Nothing new there. And to Andrews, it was an awkward touch. Nothing to worry about in the end for Javi Lopez. So, half hour in here. No teams creating any really good chances. Matchup where we do have arguably the best two keepers in the league. Unfortunately, bounced up into her commentary area.
He's very close to taking a first touch there.
That's it. Maricic sending it out wide for Ascroft. Esteban Quintas is not happy. This fourth official is going to have a long night. The two gaffers, two of the more vocal ones in NPL Victoria.
We never want to speak ill of the on-field product, and this has been an interesting game in a tactical sense, but one would argue that the biggest box office entertainment in the opening 30 minutes has been the war of words between Esteban Quintas and David Chick and the fourth official, Lockie Weir, looking to bring some spark onto the field. Angled ball for Platt, who controlled well in the first instance, not so on the second. Of course, the other big ramification of this game that perhaps haven't mentioned, beyond it just being two of the best sides in the league going at it on a Saturday night, it's a massive chance for South Melbourne to extend their lead atop the NPL Victoria table. Of course, Avondale seemed home and hosed, only to concede in the 95th minute again against Melbourne Knights today in a 1-1 draw. And so they're a chance of building that gap. Currently only 2 points, but Hume City looking to make a statement with a big scalp. We've had stoppage time goals past the 90 in every single Saturday afternoon 3 p.m. kickoff. We hope that translates into this evening. Abdallah, just a bit too hot at the heels of Jordan Lampard for the liking of Puya Gadirian. Jordan Lampard, one of a number of former Hume players who are out there tonight. We mentioned it was almost a motel stay for Noel Bernardo at Hume City, the single game. But Andy Brennan, of course, spent a little bit more time here. 4 goals, 20 appearances for Hume. Did have a bit of a sign for them perhaps at the wrong time. Not in terms of the choice of club, but just the 2 years that he was here were obviously heavily interrupted by pandemic seasons. They have been known to pluck Hume talent over the years, South Melbourne. Likes of Patrick Langlois, Marcus Schroen, Good Mustafa. To the names that are out there tonight. Perry Lambropoulos as well, a former Hume player briefly. Hume City looking to pick the lock in what is a hunkered down South defence. And nothing doing. Mikola stood his ground. Garcia will find McFarlane giving chase, and his run continues to the back four. And this press from Hume has been certainly intense. It's yet to produce a turnover in the back four. Great work from Ocheng. McFarlane helps us on its way. Hume protests for the free kick, and after some consideration, Puya Gadirian is going to oblige. The testy nature of this game continues. Oscar Carlson. I believe the other thing South Melbourne have got to be wary of, Adam, and unless it's changed on me since last time I checked, I believe Oakley are in the ascendancy as well against Altona at Paisley Park.
2-0 lead there for Oakley.
2-0, okay. So plenty on the line here for South, because should they drop points in this game, it's going to be 3 points separating the top 3, I think, if my maths is correct. So it'll be very juicy as we head towards the business end of the season. Hume could well find themselves in and around the chasing pack, though, if they extract 3 points. I think an 8-point gap between them and South Melbourne at the top.
The worst case scenario for South tonight is just a 1 point gap if they were to go down here. Plenty to play out. That's not going to pick out Brennan. Instead, it's going to pick out Lucky Weir. It's a fascinating season we've got going here at NPL Victoria. So much happening in all parts of the table. We thought up until a month ago even the only thing that may have been settled was relegation, but Northern City have come good of late.
It's quite
a couple of good results.
It's quite a unique season, really, in a lot of ways. It's often been the finals race that's been the most interesting battle, but really there's a lot of gap between those in the 6 and those outside, but the relegation battle and the Premier's Plate race are well on.
Here's a big moment. It's Sawyer. Can't link up. By the way, Sawyer and Maricic have just come together. A fairly heavy moment of contact between those two. That's 400 centimetres of... 400 centimetres of force between them. Don't know what the waste would be, but that was a moment between two of the biggest men in NPL Victoria. Now we're looking at Max Mikkola having a hard time getting past Carlson. Wins the foul.
I was going to say, Adam, the AFL have done away with skin fold tests in recent years. I think we'll spare both of those men the dignity of revealing weights live on air. But it very much has been a battle between the unstoppable force and the immovable object that has been entertaining so far.
They'll be called upon here because South have another dead ball situation to navigate here. Andy Brennan will take this free kick for the visitors. Still got the best part of 6.5 minutes left in regulation. Looking for the first goal of the evening. 1v5 on the NPL Victoria table. South have only lost once in season 2024. Brennan's ball, that's a really dangerous one. Marshall's going to play back. Platt was in the area. He tried to clear out. There's a man down at the moment for Hume, and play is going to stop. And just looking at the boot colour, I think that is Lockie Weir, who is requiring some medical attention out here.
Mario! Hey, Nahuel, Mario, Ross, Harry! Harry!
Hopefully be able to take a look at a replay in a moment and see exactly what happened with Weir. Just got crunched by Jake Marshall. Sinister in it. Weir, as he always is, he's been a busybody. Covers a lot of grounds on this left side. We've got a stoppage in play here. A chance for both David Chick and Esteban Quintas to just have a little huddle, sort of quarter time style in AFL.
Yeah, and much in the style of an AFL quarter time huddle. Esteban Quintas has got the clipboard out.
Yeah,
He's currently got, I don't know if there's a diagram on there or whether he's hastily scribbled some sort of positional notes, but yeah, he's got a
basketball
clipboard.
Time now, perhaps, like
yeah,
you see the whiteboard out. And
yeah,
the
exactly.
Just
Just
that the coach wants to make.
moving the magnets around.
Yeah.
Usually they've got an assistant coach to do that, but Esteban Quintas is a hands-on operator, and I don't think the camera may have caught it, but hopefully we're painting a picture of what was a very entertaining, not halftime team talk, but mid-match team talk. David Chick with the more conventional hand gestures, no props needed, but still an effective team talk nonetheless.
Looks like no issues for Lockie Weir. Play will be resuming momentarily. Tough customer, Lockie Weir, as we know. As I mentioned, Lockie, he really covers a lot of grounds at both ends. He's such an important link man in setting up attacks for Hume. We've seen him in action with that already throughout the evening, but defensively also so stern.
Yeah, and they've had quite a few of those players over the years, Hume, who nominally are fullbacks, but they get up so much that you're almost not sure sometimes if they are actually a fullback and maybe aren't a winger. And over the years, they have deployed those fullbacks as auxiliary wingers now and again. I mean, Lockie Weir is the sort of, Matt Lazaridis was a similar sort of player back in the day as well. But yeah, Weir covers a tremendous amount of territory, and he'll need to, because Andy Brennan, when he's on song, is a very willing runner on that right-hand side. Getting a start that I think he deserves tonight, Andy Brennan. Really offered a lot of energy off the pine against Moreland City when he replaced George Sitsinaris. And we will get a chance to see the famed Max Mikkola long throw. It's taken its time to arrive in the game, minute 42. As you mentioned, it's a wide pitch, so you have to be bringing out his best. And as the South white shirts crowd Michael Weir's technical area, we await that throw from Mikkola. Just a little shallower than usual, and glanced away to the edge of the box. A big deflection on the volley, and it was Andy Brennan who, I don't know whether he just didn't catch it properly. I think it took a hefty touch off Mikel Platt, who's on his knees, or rather hunched over at his knees as a result. Gee, if Mikel Platt wasn't in the way there, we could have been looking at another spectacular goal at that end from Andy Brennan. Of course, Emlyn Wellsmore scored goal of the week.
Same spot,
In pretty much that exact spot. You had probably the best seat in the house for it, Adam. It's usually been Hume who have done that to other teams, but anyway, Milinkovic gets the better of Bingham in the air that time. Weir with a massive up and under into the night sky in Broadmeadows. And Brennan brings to an end an agricultural couple of seconds of football by winning a free kick for South. It has had some rugged elements this first half, hasn't it?
We're going to ring to him up his mind about the additional time, 2 minutes to be added on at this stage. Marcia takes his free kick. Direction of Milinkovic, Chiang with him. Looking to avoid the corner. Did not do so. A hell of a lot to write home about in this first half. Fairly clean affair. No major chances for either side. No corner after all, but Max Mikula bringing yet another long throw anyway. Here for South. Gets as far back as he possibly can. Again, that one, like the previous one, okay, I'm not sure it's coming out of his hands all that well right now. Just spraying them essentially.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it's perspective that's making it seem like he's not getting as much purchase as usual because it is a bigger pitch, or whether he just hasn't quite caught it. I mean, I guess he usually brings them in a bit earlier, but he's almost been... has to warm up and find the range again.
2 minutes confirmed now. Now we do have a corner for South Melbourne. It's played on the goal line. It was dealt with by Ochieng. Archibald's got some work to do here. Ochieng finally gets a boot in. Max Milk has to come back over to this side.
It's almost like Ross Archibald was just waiting for Mark Ochieng to come in and challenge him there. He just kept on backing into a press from Ochieng that never arrived. It's as if he wanted the throw or the corner
I think that's what
more than actually trying to play it. And well, in the end, he's got his reward. And so Max Mikula waited 42 minutes to prep the long throws, and now he's had 3 in about as many minutes.
Let's see if this one comes out of the hands nicely. Yeah, play that one a little better. Man at the front was Marshall.
What happened? What happened?
Exactly have we got here at the moment?
I think that was a foul throw.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I think that
was the signal we're getting from Clear Gardarine, I reckon. So
He said to you 100 times.
yeah, all right. Having some issues tonight with the long throw, Max Mikula.
yeah,
He said to you 100
it's definitely
times,
more.
oh, yes, more.
Sorry, Esteban Quintas is just dropping some comedy gold. Hopefully the effects mic is picking that up. Ball over the top, looking for Harrison Sawyer, who brings it down, tries to keep it alive. Barcia is well corralled on the edge of the Hume penalty area. And that brings us to the end of a cagey first 45. It's had plenty of intrigue on the sideline between two managers who now head to the sheds to give two important team talks as these two sides look to break the deadlock and really look to bring more attacking chances into what has been a tactically engaging but tough, hard-fought battle here at Hume City Stadium. Not many major chances to write home about for either side. Both defences really standing tall so far. A couple of goal line clearances from Hume City as South Melbourne continue to build their set-piece authority and assertion late on in the game, but that is really all there is to split the sides at the moment. As we head to the sheds here at Hume City Stadium, we've got a big second 45 to come with important points up for grabs for either side. Can Hume jump into the top four, or can South Melbourne take the win that will extend their lead atop the NPL Victoria table? That's the question we'll answer on the other side of this break.
We are back at Hume City Stadium, 1v5 on the NPL Victoria table. It's the final game of round 16 in Victoria's top flight. Hume City 0, South Melbourne 0. A rather cagey affair throughout the first 45 minutes out of Sari Coglu and Lockie Flanagan on the call here for the final match of round 16, and the second half is underway here. Lockie, I mentioned just a real chess match more than anything else in that first 45 minutes. An entertaining battle between two great minds of NPL Victoria, Esteban Quintas and David Chick, that played out throughout the first 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating watch. A very attritional game in many respects. Two sides who, particularly I think Hume City, but two sides who have really researched what their opponent is trying to do and attempted to adjust their style to match it. It is, I don't want to speak this into existence, but it is reminding me a lot of the last game these two sides played at Hume City Stadium, which did end as a goalless draw. And that was more to do with Harvey Lopez heroics, but it was a similarly tight affair. South Melbourne just haven't been able to lock in on some of the things that they usually do best in this bigger pitch, set pieces and long throws, even if they did have a better period with those at the end of the first half. Arguably their best set piece of the entire first 45 came right at the end. A fantastic ball in from the left-hand side, which had to be knocked off the goal line by Mark Ocheng. Both sides looked a little bit more attacking zest into the contest. Both sides have been pressing pretty intently in the first half as well, so you imagine that'll lag and flag at some stage, and those stretch lines might allow a few more openings for either side. You might see one here. Andy Brennan with a lovely first couple of touches. A driven cross into the middle, which was missed by Michael Weir. And eventually Max Mikkola is able to pick it up at the other end. Oh, and Mark Ocheng sends him soaring into the corner flag. And luckily he's okay, because I'm sure historical South Melbourne fans will remember that sometimes players getting launched into the corner flag like that can bring up very gruesome consequences. Harry Noon back in the day at Lakeside. Max Mikkola now will get the long throw, having avoided the collision.
So he was fouled last time. He sent a long throw in. All clear this time. Back with Lampard sending it in the Harry Sawyer direction. You've read on the goal line here. The ball might have crossed though. So we'll be back with a goal kick with Michael Weir. You've seen Esteban Quintas. This animated. Almost need a separate camera on him, I think. Corner of the screen, like he just. Oh, a Quintas cam, if you will.
We've been attempting to give an audio descriptive service in this game so far. I feel like he's either very quiet or he's at 110% as he is now.
We've got a third commentator at the moment. Brennan sending another ball in, but directly at Michael Weir. Abdallah for Ocheng. And the winning throw as he came together with Lampard. Tense battle, this one. It's been a busy day today in NPL Victoria. 6 of the 7 games being played throughout the day. One's about to conclude at Paisley Park. Last time I checked that one, like it was still a 2-0 lead for Oakley over Magic. Oakley has gone to the final whistle now. If South was to go down tonight, it's just a 1 point gap on the table between them and Oakley if Hume get all 3 points here tonight.
Yeah, and it makes the need to really go for this game at least, if not in the entirety of the second half, in the last 30 to 20 minutes of it, all the more important. I mean, a win would be great for both sides. A draw would be a better result for Hume, but it's a massive chance to build a gap at the top for South after Avondale's dropped points today.
Carlson with some central space here, played back by Bingham. Platt just zigzagging their way through. Galevsky through a couple of legs. Carlson missing it in the ends, and Brennan there to collect it at the back for South Melbourne.
I think they just got a bit too clever for their own good that time, Hume. Oscar Carlson, I think, tried another flick to the player who was on his left shoulder. Someone just needed to pull the trigger, because the sequence that led up to it was probably one of the best patches of possession and passing play we've seen all game.
Again, no major chances for either side throughout proceedings so far tonight. Both teams have been stern at the back. Ashcroft for Amir Abdallah. Maricic. Now Lockie Weir connecting with his brother, of course, Michael Weir, back in goal now. This is homecoming, as you mentioned, like the first home appearance for him since returning to Hume City. Lampard sends it down the line in the direction of Bernarda. Farland. Carlson just has to hold up a little bit. We're very quickly out in the direction of Bingham. It's a nice ball. Bingham has a one-on-one here with Lampard. He's going to get it back here from McFarlane. No. He's coming in late and killing it off there. The South defender, Marshall, now Nicola. Lampard. Nicola. It's a looping ball down the line, a really awkward one to deal with there for Bernarda. There's a high boot involved in all of that. Ball going to play, perhaps. It's a Hume ball either way here. Ball did cross over the line right in front of Esteban Quintas.
That's the answer to our question. Didn't get a sub from either side at the halftime interval. Well, Lloyd Isgrove has been warming up since the start of the half. He's now been joined by a number of other substitutes, but his influence potentially does loom large. That's a great line-breaking ball for Harrison Sawyer, who's got two Hume City defenders to contend with. And it was Maricic who was sure of foot to rob the giant South striker of possession. Battle, almost a microcosm of the tactical challenge at large here. A really scrappy and tightly fought affair between those two. Find a clean passage on the left-hand side through Platt and Abdallah. The answer for the time being is no. They'll get a deep throw. You would expect they'll look to take short. As we mentioned in the first half, Hume City battling against not the form book, but the history books for this game. Only 2 wins in NPL Victoria against South Melbourne all time in 20 appearances. Great cross though, looking for Galevsky, who just got purchase on the ball, but not quite as much as he desired, just lacking a bit of conviction and accuracy. But a shot inside the box. I dare say David Chick will see that as progress. Last win against South Melbourne in all competitions was the Deputy Cup semi-final in 2021. Harrison Sawyer has given away a free kick against Tom Maricic. Guderian is just giving him a bit of a warning, I think, here to be careful. Michael Weir is maybe even asking why the sanction for Harrison Sawyer isn't more severe and maybe prompting a card. Going back to that Doherty Cup game, I do wonder if maybe Michael Weir's a good luck charm. The last time they got a win against South, it was a 3-2 thriller. Andy Brennan scoring the winner for Hume in extra time, but that was one of Michael Weir's last games in a Hume City shirt. It was his last game against South Melbourne. I don't know. If you believe in superstitions, maybe his return bodes well. We're not quite getting a 3-2 after extra time thriller so far tonight, though. Well, that game had a bit of everything. Henry Hoare scored after 17 seconds. Andy Brennan scored twice. Be happy just to score once in this game. Sawyer ambling his way towards goal. A couple of runners short, but he instead goes long for the man we were just talking about. Andy Brennan wants to get the eyes up, drives across into the middle. A couple of touches, a big chance here for Mikola. Similarly to Golevsky minutes ago, when the chance presented itself in the penalty area, couldn't quite produce a touch of enough emphasis to really bother Michael Weir. And really the only trouble he's caused is to himself, and looking at this distance, just trying to get confirmation of who the other player is down on the deck. It might be Fletcher McFarlane.
I think that's a good guess. Just looking around, and number 5 is missing out there right now.
Definitely a process of elimination selection, that one.
I think you've got that one right. I'm not going to see a 7-goal shootout tonight, that's for sure.
Well, it's a funny league, NPL Victoria. Don't speak too soon, Adam.
South have had 2 in a row.
They have had some
shootouts in a row.
They have had some big goal fest fixtures. I do think, I jest though. I think you're right. This one is probably going to be decided by
1-0 written all over.
Yeah, it's probably going to be decided by a solitary goal, if any. But they referenced that game they played 0-0 draw back in 2023 here at Hume City Stadium last season a couple of times. But the big difference is, yes, that was a tight affair, but there was still plenty of work for the keepers to do. Particularly Harvey Lopez made some outstanding saves, but that's probably the first save that Michael Weir's had to make. I'm not sure Harvey Lopez has made one so far.
If that's even a save, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it was a free. I think it was a free kick, or perhaps anyway. So maybe a moot point. But either way, it was easy pickings.
Mikler and McFarlane back out there now. So, we're nearly an hour in. Hume City 0, South Melbourne 0. The final match of round 16 in NPL Victoria. The first day of winter. We're certainly feeling it. Like
we are definitely feeling it.
It feels like temperature at play here that may well be nearly in the minuses at this point. It is a cold night. We are in a middle of a valley. That's why it's called Meadows Valley Park here. Exposed to the elements, no protection from any direction from any kind of weather that may be coming. It's a still night, dry night, or a cold night.
The still dry nights can sometimes be some of the worst in terms of the temperature. I saw 14 as the forecast today, and I thought, oh, that's not too bad. I've dealt with worse. But then you have to get for the actual temperature that it'll be at, the time you're commentating, and I saw it had dropped down to 11, and I thought, oh, this could be a tough one. This could be a tough one.
Hume exclusively play all their home games at night. I mean, that 1 o'clock kickoff last week would have been
it honestly must have really thrown them. I mean, I was watching back the game earlier today, and
tracked out the SPF 15, just catching some rays.
But
the game. It's unusual for him.
One of the commentators, Mark Ivkovic, made the point as well that it's actually a big disruption to your rhythm because you have 2 meals before playing a 7 p.m. game. You maybe have a nap during the day. You've got a bit more time to do prehab, that sort of stuff. bringing it 6 hours forward is totally a different ball game, and it might have really affected Hume, particularly in the first half where they trailed at the break.
I honestly think that's one of the factors into why we're seeing such weird results at Petty's Reserve this year, with those 3 p.m. kickoffs
and the artificial surface.
I'm wondering if
combination of the
sunlight
two
reflects off that a little more, so it's just warmer conditions and the players are used to an NPL Victoria. There may genuinely be something to that.
Yeah, I'd be, particularly with the case of Petty's, I'd be inclined to agree. I mean, South Melbourne were eventually able to sweep aside Manningham when they played at Petty's earlier this season, but they did lead.
Here's a moment, Amir Abdallah, just getting him away from this Archibald, but it was okay.
They did lead that game, Manningham, and I think it's maybe why they had such a good start to the season when the heat was at its most significant and radiating off the artificial turf. Mikola is going to be found in an offside position here. That's a frustrating one for the South bench as Esteban Quintas throws a hand to the sky. It looks as though he is going to pull the trigger on the first substitution of the night. George Sitsanaris, who's donning a very nice pair of black gloves as well in the conditions. It's that time of year. I'll have to get confirmation of who he'll be coming on for shortly. It was he who was replaced by Andy Brennan in the second half last week. Maybe we'll see the same in reverse. The South break the deadlock beforehand though. Bernarda given one to chase. Ocheng first to the football. But he's been robbed of possession by South's attacker, who will never give anything less than 110%. He's won a free kick on the edge of the box, and he gets a reward for his industry there, Bernarda.
It's kind of 2 protests in one here, mostly for Ricard. I think a couple of South players actually hoping that may have been a penalty. Ocheng was all over Bernarda there.
I think that the counter argument from Puya Gadirian is that the contact, which was
Exactly.
elongated, as you can
Way
see,
back.
did start a long way outside the box.
At the same time, if the foul itself did occur in the box, then that's why South were protesting it so hard.
Can they create profit from the free kick anyway? It's a bouncing ball. Lampard has a swing at it. There are a couple of touches, and so a second set piece in quick succession for South Melbourne. Jordan Lampard, we saw him score a frankly outrageous goal from a similar distance against Preston in the Cup. Lightning not quite striking twice. Brennan will prepare another delivery from the flags. It's decently shaped too, over the head of Jake Marshall. Second chance for Andy Brennan. A flatter delivery, the end result the same. Hume City fire the ball away. And they bring their out of possession numbers up at speed. And that ball is going to drop for Sawyer. Mikola! Oh, that would have been a beautiful direct move from South Melbourne and a lovely goal from Max Mikola. Silver service from Harry Sawyer, just knocking it down out of the Broadmeadows air. And Weir was caught betwixt and between. He left a fair bit of that far post open, and Mikola went for it. Fortunately, or unfortunately for South Melbourne, fortunately for Hume, he wasn't able to extract full value. But that is far and away, Adam, the best chance of the game as South Melbourne do make that substitution. George Sitsanaris coming on for Andy Brennan.
Sprayed it a little bit. Fell the wrong side of the post on the left side, but yeah, that's the first proper chance we've seen of the night for either side. It stays 0-0.
That just shows, Adam, the danger that presents for South Melbourne, or for Hume rather, when if the rare occasion that Tom Maricic does lose that aerial battle. That's why it's so important.
Mikhail Platt does well to get around Lampard here. There's a chance here for Hume City if Platt can make it stick in the middle, but goes past Bingham. McFarlane has taken a South touch. Lopez was there. South just turning the screws a little bit here at the moment. Hume on the back foot. We've got 3 recognised strikers up front at the moment in this 11. Klatkolevsky and Bingham all out there at the moment as Sawyer gets away from McFarlane. Archibald sending it out wide. Tanaris getting an early touch here. It was a lowish ball, easily dealt with. Maricic. Now Bingham denied by Barcia. Stayed in for Barcia as well. Tanaris will get a second chance to cross in. Sawyer took a while to come to him. He's maybe off balance and already being harassed a little bit as play will stop now. It's Ashcroft on the deck at the moment. He was the one applying all that pressure on a very, very dangerous and recently potent Harry Sawyer.
And 13 goals for the season in the league is the headline figure, but he's so much more than his ability to find the back, Harrison Sawyer, and I feel like that passage of play that has led up to this injury stoppage was a good example of that. I mean, the physical, and I know he's a big boy and he should just naturally be a little bit physically advantaged against some of his opponents, but Fletcher McFarlane was doing everything within his power to try and bring Harrison Sawyer to ground there. He basically had Harrison Sawyer's left leg in a scissor lock. I thought he was going for a WWE-style sharpshooter to try and bring Harry down. He didn't flinch. He got himself freed, he kept running, and he got the ball moving, and that's what South Melbourne need more of if they're going to open the scoring in this game. And it looks as though the injury troubles aren't stopping anytime soon here. We've got a player down on the far side, totally away from play, which is never something you want to see.
It's Bingham.
And it's Josh Bingham as well, so that's especially not something you want to see. He did, of course, come off with an injury late in the second half of their round 13 clash with Oakley Cannons and missed a couple of weeks of football as a result. It was only in the second half of last week where he scored on his return in the 89th minute to win the game, the captain. If they're a player they'll want to lose. Cheng, a bit of a ragged touch. The chop back from Mikola, pleasing on the eye. Sawyer wide and waiting for the targets, buying a yard. An authoritative clearance from Tom Maricic, not that we expect anything less. Former Dandenong Thunder defender, Barcia. Ball just dropped very kindly for him there. Certainly building South Melbourne. Lampard advanced from fullback. Sawyer ambling towards goal, but Carlson did what he needed to do to get it away, and South Melbourne will have another long throw on the broadcast side.
Looking ominous now. Ominous or ominous? I think the viewers know what I'm saying here.
Well, I think everyone knew.
Anyway, we'll get on with it here. Lampard misfiring in the direction of Max Mikola. So where's the breakthrough going to come from? We're going to see the first change from David Chick for the evening shortly. O'Kane, been getting regular starts lately. He's going to come in by the looks of things. I wonder if Josh Bingham may have his number on the board shortly. Still working his way back from an injury spell. It's coming his way at the moment.
And I can see a red 11 on the board, so it will be Josh Bingham. A Josh for a Josh as well, I think. Josh O'Kane, the man coming on. They've got a lot of Joshes, this Hume City side.
Still wait to see if we're going to see Lloyd Isgrove out here tonight.
Three Joshes has got to be above average for an NPL Victoria team. For any football team, for that matter.
It's a popular name, though, I must say.
That's true, that is true.
Working in sports administration myself, like seeing the amount of Joshes that are running around. Joshes and Jacks.
Yeah, that's
In
true.
the late 90s, there was a lot of Joshes and Jacks being born.
There's a Jack on the other side as well. Jack Painter Andrews for South Melbourne.
Okay, will be coming on shortly with Hume. Just looking to create something here, perhaps. We are now going to see the change. So Josh Bingham is done for the night. As O'Kane gets his final instructions from David Chick. No, we're not going to see the change just yet, or are we? There's some confusion right now between the fourth official and Guttarian. So no change yet. Amir Abdallah in tight quarters here. Deflects off Painter Andrews.
Hey, Joshi! Come on! Come on!
Just a bit of a lull in proceedings here at the moment. It's been a good little sustained period for South Melbourne. Haven't been able to get one past Michael Weir. Javi Lopez has never really been tested throughout the evening so far. And South are going to counter here. Bernardo not able to link up with Sitsonaris on that occasion. Mascroft here. Platts. Mascroft with some pressure coming from Jankovic. That's toward Weir. Carlson. Golevsky is back to goal. Kane's still waiting to come on, mind you. Bingham set to be the man to make way. Ochieng. It's not quite going to reach Amir Abdallah. Doing well in the air. Painter Andrews. It comes back to Weir though. Carlson. And Weir back to Maricic. So Hume just looking to sustain some possession. As we enter the final 20 of regulation, Bingham might be fancying a chance here. Josh Bingham closed in late, did Marshall. Goes up the chimney. Abdallah at the fall.
Emil! Emil!
Played back out in that direction by Marshall.
Emil!
Cleared out in the end. Painter Andrews going down the line. Sawyer with no help.
Just a quick update on that substitution as well, Adam. I was just having a little bit of a listen. We're going to get to see it now to the discussion between the assistant coach and the fourth official. There was a bit of a change-up. Fletcher McFarlane is the man who's going to come on, not Josh Bingham. I think they initially had the number 11 on the little sub-slip that they give to the fourth official, and that's why they weren't able to make the change as early as they would have liked. So Josh Bingham lives to fight another day and gives chase through the back of Mario Barcia. Mikola trying to thread the needle. Abdallah able to show a clean pair of heels to his midfield markers. Could been a more entertaining second half where chances are concerned, but we are getting towards the crunch. Speaking of crunch, so infringement clear as day from Mario Barcia. In the interest of the game getting towards the closing chapters, Esteban Quintas set to make another substitution. Emil Pios getting his final instructions. Interesting to see who comes on in, or comes off in his place. Platt. Out of ideas. Mikola sets a task for Sawyer, but Michael Weir remaining agile and high up his line. Is that Josh Bingham picking up a card for some dissent there? I believe it was.
Very demonstrably reacting to the foul call there as Josh Bingham wasn't happy. That's the first booking of the night. I think it is Max Mikola coming off, by the way, Lockie.
Perhaps an accumulation of fouls or just the reaction. Either way, it was maybe Josh Bingham just taking exception to the fact there has been a lot of those sorts of fouls tonight, or those sorts of infringements, and many of them have gone uncalled, but he's questioning why that one is the one that Guderian took exception with. But Max Mikola, the man who gave us our biggest chance of the game in this second half, his race has run. The substitute who replaces him, Emil Pios, immediately on the ball for Sitsinaris, the boyhood South fan and junior. Can't fashion too much from that cross. Motoring forward is the substitute O'Kane, and it's a booming slide challenge to match from Barcia. Really enjoyed watching Josh O'Kane this season. It's the first time this year he hasn't actually started a game of football in the league. Which is some feat for a 20-year-old midfielder.
The next move for Hume City, by the way, Lockie, will be Lloyd Isgrove coming on.
Oh boy, strap in. What sort of game is he going to enter to? Laid down nicely for Platt, whose first touch freed him. The cross into the middle, looking for Bingham. Stooping away to clear was Marshall. Lockie Weir attempts to send it back in, but after some consideration, it is going to be a corner, so Puya Guderian has overruled his linesman in Jock Quartermain. Continue to wait to see when Lloyd Isgrove will march his way onto the field, but Hume will at the very least get a corner first.
Abdallah.
Place the fucking ball, George.
Central ball, Platt can't impact. Okay, the secondary ball in, that was dealt with by Barcia. Archang working from the back. Skyward ball will end up in Amir Abdallah's possession. Painter Andrews working on him. Carlson. Weir. Where's the breakthrough going to come from? May well be the man that's about to come on for Hume City. He can do anything from anywhere, Lloyd Isgrove. We've seen that on a number of occasions.
It's the best summation of Lloyd Isgrove I've heard all season, Adam. I like it.
Most recently in the Cup. Scored from a long, long way from home against the Bayside Argonauts here a week and a half ago. This is O'Kane. Not Chiang. I wonder if it is Josh Bingham that's going to be coming off this time.
Well, I was going to say, I can see the number 11 in red letters on the, or red numbers on the board, but I'm reticent to say it because I was I was wrong last time.
Well, they were on the board. We were right about that.
That was true.
Watching neat little flick back, but ultimately didn't really come off. And here's Bernarda. He's been overly busy tonight. Manuel Bernarda. Archibald sending it out wide. Sitsinaris will get it now. So Sitsinaris has come on for Andy Brennan, controlling things on that right side. That ball goes directly into the gloves of Michael Weir. We'll see another change coming up from South Melbourne shortly as well. Lloyd Isgrove's been warming up for quite some time. Mikal Platt. Needs to bide his time a little bit here. Painter Andrews is right with him. As Bingham sneaks back into the area, Kalevsky just sitting outside right now. Amir Abdallah. Carlson for Ochieng. Ochieng does finally send it in. Josh Bingham's direction. Over the head of Yankovic. Cooper Halfpenny coming on shortly for South Melbourne. And Lloyd Isgrove is coming in for Josh Bingham.
Marco, are you okay?
He'll be handing the captain's armband, presumably over to Mark Ochieng. Cooper Halfpenny is coming on as well for South Melbourne.
Interesting change from South. Cooper Halfpenny, an energetic midfielder, maybe just freshening the legs. It's not exactly the attacking change you might expect. I suppose they've already made a couple of those in the form of Emil Pios and George Sitsinaris.
Don't yet know who is coming off though.
Esteban Quintas was asking if Marko Jankovic was okay to continue. I think I just picked up on the effects mic, although it was very faint, the number 8 being uttered. So I think that's a good change from South Melbourne, maybe just needing a little bit of extra energy in the midfield third. Isgrove definitely where the bench options are concerned, and I mean this with no disrespect to Cooper Halfpenny, who's had a breakout campaign this year in 2024. He's definitely the ace up the sleeve.
Is this the calm before the storm right now?
I hope so.
10 or roughly 10 to go in regulation.
I hope so.
Are we about to see some late theatrics here at Hume City Stadium on Saturday night?
Lloyd Isgrove has promised a lot walking into this competition, and he's very rarely let us down so far.
That was South's last one.
It's been a while, a couple of weeks at least, since his last goal against Altona in round 12. Although what a last goal it was. 1 of 8 this season. Abdallah bearing down on the ball towards the byline. Gets the beating of Lampard. There are numbers in the middle. Abdallah went himself. And Javi Lopez was able to divert it away at his near post. Weir for Isgrove. Lloyd Isgrove into the middle for Platt and tipping it over. Had to tip it over, did Javi Lopez. I don't think that's what he was going for, but that's what he can do, Lloyd Isgrove.
So the dynamic we've got now, and maybe this was the thinking of David Chick, is we haven't really seen what a fresh Lloyd Isgrove can do against some tired bodies out there. I mean, we're going to see 10 minutes of chaos, really, from someone who's got much fresher legs and a lot of players out there. He's going to take this corner. I wonder if that was some of the thinking for David Chick as Isgrove takes this corner. Kick Maricic. 200 centimetres inside that box. Always a threat in the air. Nothing coming though. And it's still 0-0 at Hume City Stadium.
Oh, he could be staring down the barrel of. Again, I don't want the commentator's curse to strike while we have such a delicately poised final 10 minutes, but it does feel like the stage is really set for one of the great super sub impacts here from Lloyd Isgrove.
You can't take your eyes off this one right now. 2 teams in the top 5 of NPL Victoria. Neither have scored just yet. A handball call will go Hume's way here. Anything could happen. It's weird though, at the start of the season we mentioned all those 1-0 results that South were involved in early, and then off late a few more higher scoring affairs that they've been playing in both at Cup and league level. Hume kind of the opposite, a lot of chaos in their earlier fixtures, and off late it's just been a bit tighter in a lot of their league affairs anyway. At least they were 6 goals obviously in the Cup game. As we get another corner here, Lloyd Isgrove is having that impact that we expected him to see. But off late in the league for Hume City, things have just become a bit tighter. I mean, there was a 0-0 draw last time out in the league here against Dandenong Thunder.
Yeah, well, they were scoring goals for fun, and they had, you know, two players who still are, but were in the top bracket of the Golden Boot race, but they've only scored a handful of goals in the last couple of weeks.
It's been a while since they've scored a league goal here at home. Lloyd Eastgrove's corner, Maricic again. And was that... Well, let's just stay with this for a moment. Did Harvey Lopez save one with his head? Is that what I saw?
I think it was Harrison Sawyer.
Okay.
I think it was Harrison Sawyer. I reckon, though, Harry Sawyer has caught the top of the crossbar on the way up. So he's cleared the ball away, and as he's jumped, he's knocked his head on the top of the crossbar. I'll have to go have a look at that one on the replay for you. Yeah, so you can just see Lopez is sort of trapped under a raft of bodies, and Sawyer's touch is crucial. He's so deep on the goal line that it looks like he is the goalkeeper, but he heads it off the line and just clips the top, or rather the underside of the crossbar with the top of his head. Talk about self-sacrifice.
What the hell I was looking at there?
I thought it was I thought it was Harvey Lopez for a second.
It just struck me as Lopez
well.
for a moment.
Well, it's because of his positioning on the goal line. That looked like where the goalkeeper would be. Yeah, he's going to have a fair-sized egg, I would imagine. Harrison Sawyer at the end of the 90. A big old ice pack up top.
Maybe 0-0, but it hasn't been without some entertainment here tonight.
That's for sure. Carlson and Kane want to get clean contact on the header. Sawyer frees himself to feed Sitzenyaris, who that's a really frustrating one for South Melbourne with the game at such a critical juncture. Just strayed a hair offside. The team got the courage of their convictions to take all 3 points in this game. Lampard had the pass all the way. Pios couldn't pick the gap for Lampard. It is Hume just... Oh, that looked like a foul throw. That's the point that Esteban Quintas is making. Play continues. Lockie Weir. Side for Oscar Carlson, the dual Swedish-Australian national, having a great season in his debut year in NPL Victoria in midfield. Much to the chagrin of the Hume players who had continued to attack. The last touch looks to have been off Lockie Weir, so South Melbourne will get a throw. I feel that's justice after the foul throw on this side that went unpunished against Mark Hodgson. That's their interpretation of the situation, at least. Sawyer. Little break lines. No whistle from Puya Gadirian, and that's going to favour Hume City, who have managed to regain the ball. Weir with that long searching ball, Lampard commanding in the air, and Archibald was really clever. So he has to retreat to Marshall. I wonder how many minutes of stoppage time will get added onto this game. We have had a few elongated injury stoppages, and Lloyd Isgrove hasn't had many poor touches in his NPL Victoria career. Hasn't had any poor touches since coming on in this game. That was not his best work. I just knew if we started talking about the commentator's curse would strike at some point.
Just stay calm for the moment, I think, because it could be a late breakthrough either way here at the moment. Lampard sending it in the direction of Noel Bernarda. Watching, taking a touch. It's Lampard near the flag here. South Melbourne corner. Scoreless draw seemed a little unlikely coming in, given the quality that's out there tonight for both sides. But we are staring down the barrel of that as we speak. What happens from this corner for South Melbourne? Central ball. Cleared out by Maricic.
Oscar wide.
Painter Andrews sending the secondary ball in. Here is that moment, and it is sent into the back of the net by Jankovic. And finally a breakthrough here at Hume City. Marko Jankovic with only his second league goal of the season. Is that a late winner that gives all 3 points to South this evening?
You get the sense that it very well could be, and it's a kind of goal that is the mark of a supreme side. It's been such a tight game, this one. There has not been an inch given by either side, but South Melbourne recognise what this game represents, what's at stake in terms of points at the top end of the table, and right as we enter the final 5 minutes of stoppage time, they break the deadlock, and it's their centre-back who stayed forward to get it done. And now all the pressure is on Hume in this final 5 minutes. They'll feel, Hume, that it's a goal that is not one they deserve to be copping. But now we're set for a really entertaining close to this game, and South Melbourne will look to hold on and maybe finish off a game that their professionalism and their quality, their will to win, might allow them to take all 3 points in. And there's the competitive spirit on display from Jordan Lampard. They are so good at defending these leads, South Melbourne. So good at chewing up the time to take them closer to a win. And if it is a win, it hasn't been a pretty one. And if there's one thing we know about Esteban Quintas, he loves 3 points any way he can get them.
I think that is like it's been more than 270 minutes now in the league since Hume have scored a goal at home.
Yeah, it's definitely becoming a bit of a problem, and there could be a problem here. Pios couldn't breach the brick wall that for the most part has been Tom Maricic. At the moment though, one lapse of concentration in the Hume defence is going to cost them. Pios, will he just take it into the corner? Yeah, no rush to deliver this one. Bernarda, it's a heavy touch, but he's won back possession. And Ocheng has upended him, but legally so and without taking a touch. So Hume can get it moving quickly. There are plenty of South numbers behind the ball. Pressure on Lockie Weir. Great work by Sitsinaris. And the travelling South fans provide him a deserved applause. Back to Hume City having the tank. Platt brings it down, turns into trouble. Lampard leaps back. Possession. Sawyer and Ashcroft come together, and Ashcroft is going to be in a bit of trouble here. A yellow ticket for the Hume City central defender.
That is fucking rubbish. That's fucking rubbish.
It's 5th of the year as well.
That's not what they needed. A bit of insult to injury. Harry Ashcroft. And there is still Jordan Lampard. He's only just returned to the turf out of screen on your right hand side. And David Chick is going to join the central defender in the pocketbook. Yellow ticket.
And for Ashcroft, it may as well be a red.
Jordan Lampard. Well, interesting tale here off your picture at the moment. Jordan Lampard was up. He was down to be injured, got up again. He's had a 30-second check with the physio, and it seems as though his race is going to be run. He's limping his way off the field. Pretty sure they've still got a substitution window to use, or are they all out? Jordan Lampard might have been calling for a sub along with the physio, but he's not going to have much of a choice here, I don't think.
I think I did overhear Armin Pava, the fourth official, indicating a bit earlier on that South have used up all their windows.
Lampard is going to play the rest of this game with one leg. Platt is going to attempt to hunt this down, and Jake Marshall with as agricultural a clearance as you'll see. A code name for those clearances at South Melbourne. Esteban Quinta says lake. They practice in training to clear the ball towards the Albert Park Lake. Ashcroft. Precious moments in this game. Ochenk's cross, the header from Maricic off target. And might that be Hume City's last chance to have a meaningful say on this contest?
Well, the 5 minutes are up, but we probably will get some extra on top of that. All right, lucky that may well have been it for tonight for the hosts.
Guys, players sitting down, please.
Noel Bernarda has had to drop into left back. That's how dire the situation is for Jordan Lampard. He's a left winger on one leg at the moment.
It's now, for all intents and purposes, 3 full league fixtures where Hume have not been able to score at home. That may well be a good thing for them, given their next 3 are all away. They're going to Port Melbourne next week in J. Alden Murphy Reserve in 7 days' time. And trips to both Avondale and St Albans after that. And obviously scored twice last week at Green Gully. Not necessarily writing them off here. One last chance here as Weir takes a little hip and shoulder from Titanaris, and he will get a yellow card for that. A late set piece for Hume City.
And Michael Weir is on his way up. So this is it for Hume. Well, Michael Weir, I'm obliged to say, in his 103 NPL Victoria appearances, did score 1 goal on his debut for Hume City. It was a 93rd minute equaliser coming up from a corner. And he is up for what will surely be the final chance of the game. Hume City looking to rescue a point at the death. Abdullah's delivery, Platt's header! So close. And yet so far for Hume. We are now into a 7th minute of second half stoppage time. Michael Weir isn't going to repeat the magic of his debut with a late equaliser up from the goalkeeping spot. He's going to get a yellow card though.
Now officially entered the 8th minute of stoppage time here. And is that us done for tonight? No whistle to the mouth at the moment for Puya Guderian. We are still going at Hume City. Until now, it was Marko Jankovic in the 90th minute with the one and only score here tonight. An entertaining affair. And the NPL Victoria leaders maintain top spot on the table and put a bit more gap on Oakley. What a win that was for South.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty necessarily. It wasn't the swashbuckling 4-5 goals that we've seen from them in the last few weeks, but it is a win, 3 points, a result that, dare I say it, Premier's plate-winning campaigns are made of. They were really made to work for it tonight. It was a tight affair. It was a physical contest. Neither side let up, but South Melbourne found the goal that counted. Their competitive spirit shined through. And with the prize of extending their lead atop the table, with Avondale having dropped points dangling for them, they found the will. They found a way. And there will be some sore bodies, not least Jordan Lampard, who played the final few minutes basically on one leg. And the taste of victory will be a sweet one for South. An even contest that they just managed to age in the final moments. And it leaves them sitting pretty atop the NPL Victoria table as we end round 16. South Melbourne in the clear at the top of the table. And Marko Jankovic is the man they have to thank for it. South Melbourne sitting pretty as they leave to a raft of applause here at Hume City Stadium. Marko Jankovic, the hero. The final score here in Broadmeadows: South Melbourne 1, Hume City 0.